This is a battle in the blue tournament between Diplomatt of the Wolf clan commanding Arverni and Illogic of the SITH clan commanding Galatia. Now in this matchup, the advantage in terms of cavalry goes to Arverni. The advantage in terms of infantry goes to Galatia. And this is not a faction-based assessment. This is just based on what's on the field here. So, for Galatian Raiders, for Diplomatt, bunch of Levy Freeman, the front line of I absolutely love this. Bunch of 6 Levy Freeman for Illogic. Nothing illogical about that. Then we have 6 chosen swords, 2 Oathsworn. There's a max in this tournament of 8 melee units, so you'll see less swords than you usually see. Then we have 4 heavy horse, 2 Celtic youths. The general is Vercingetorix. For Galatia, we have Galatian legionaries, 6 of those, then 2 Galatian swords. The Galatian legionaries are going to stomp all over the chosen swords, no contest. Then we have 4 Levy Freemen, so maybe he has 2 little Levy Freemen. Remember, there are 6 Levy Freemen on the opposite side. Then he has the commander noble horse general. I don't know that a commander is really needed when you have Galatian legionaries as your main line, because they have 60 morale. But then again, the Galatian swords only have 40, so it might be useful. Mercenary Cappadocian cavalry, they are disciplined. The Pontic Cappadocian cavalry is not disciplined, which is interesting to note. So, good screening here by the Levy Freeman. This is more passive screening. Might be a good idea to use passive screening against the Galatian Raiders, because a frontal rear charge from these guys could absolutely wreck the Galatian Raiders. But the problem with passive screening like this is that a lot of the time it's easy to miss with the javelin volleys, and the Galatian Raiders will be able to keep sniping and keep baiting the javelins of the Levy Freeman. Here the Galatian Raiders did lose 5 men to these Levy Freemen, so nicely done. Starting to screen a bit more actively. So now Levy Freemen, costing a total of 8 something, are screening away 2,000 worth of units, so very useful in that regard. But Arverni sort of has a... Arverni's Oathsworn are of course going to do well against Galatian legionaries, but the Galatian legionaries, if they're able to countercharge the Oathsworn, then they're going to do very well. So it's not just a... In these barbarian engagements where no side has a definite advantage and both sides are more than capable of blocking the other, you might run into sort of standoffish situations. So in terms of these Galatian raiders, it might be a good idea for Diplomatt to just save his Galatian raiders for the late game to go and snipe the general or snipe isolated cavalry units after these Levy Freemen have started to engage and might be out of ammunition and such. Might be a good idea, because he is well protected in the rear from enemy cavalry with his Cappadocians and with his noble horse. Cappadocians are great against heavy horse because of their 15 bonus against large and good health. Very good units. They also have a higher melee attack rating than the heavy horse, so just superior to heavy horse in every way against enemy cavalry. But the main threat on the field for Galatia here is going to be the heavy horse and the Oathsworn. The Chosen, not really a problem, but the Oathsworn, they can do so much damage against Galatian legionaries, but only if they get a good charge. If they are countercharged, they are not that much better than the Galatian legionaries. They are better, but it's more even if the Oathsworn don't get a great charge off. Ooh, turning the line slightly to the right here is Diplomatt. And these Levy Freemen are going to run in and charge, sort of a weird diagonal charge there. Heavy horse moving in frontally against the Levy Freemen. They're going to break through and get into the Galatian legionaries, but they're getting countercharged by the Cappadocians. So the heavy horse should start to drop. These Galatian swords are open for a nice counter charge against these chosen swords. And Galatian swords have a great charge bonus. Even sending in his cavalry, that's not cavalry, that's just Oathsworn. So Oathsworn are being sent in here. They're getting counter-charged by these mercenary Cappadocian cavalry, and the entire charge of Arverni has been stopped by these levy freemen. Now, very nicely done here by Diplomatt, sending in his levy freemen, and then pulling them out, charging back in with Galatian legionaries, and because of that he's doing very well. Now he's able to use his Galatian raiders against the heavy horse of Arverni, which is a great use of them. He needs to be careful here on the flank, because these Galatian swords are going to break super quickly if they are attacked in the rear. The Galatian legionary is losing decisively against the Oathsworn general here. And here we have the mercenary Cappadocian cavalry charging into the heavy horse. Nicely done. The heavy horse is going to lose that engagement, and that was very important, because that was the unit that could start to rear charge here and do a lot of damage that way. Here we have the Galatian raiders nicely avoiding the levy freemen and inflicting rear charge penalties on all of these units, so nicely done, doing damage to the Oathsworn, and the Oathsworn has been taking casualties from being engaged against these Galatian legionaries. But the Galatian legionaries are sort of getting surrounded here. I think these Celtic youths had attack orders on the noble horse general, but they were then pulled into combat with the Galatian legionaries. Overall, these raiding horse are being very annoying, but not really doing too much damage. Now they're able to get into the Celtic youths and do damage. This unit of heavy horse is getting charged by the general, and that is very important in freeing up these two units to go for rear charges, because the Oathsworn general has lost 40 men, but there isn't a lot of time left here, because there are so many units for Galatia wavering. But a miss micro here, massive miss micro by Illogic. Massive miss micro by Diplomatt. His heavy horse are getting absolutely destroyed here. And I have been switching around with who is Diplomatt and who is Illogic. The Galatia is Illogic and Arverni is Diplomatt. So the Oathsworn are just taking so much damage from these Galatian legionaries. They did take some rear charges as well. But using the general as frontline infantry like this is super risky. Here the noble horse general and the Cappadocians are in the back lines, no doubt going for the Celtic youth over here, but they have to be super careful, because these Celtic youths can destroy a lot of cavalry really quickly. Unity of the tribes is popped, and that is an effect that affects the entire army, so very useful in increasing the morale of the units to stop them from breaking. Here we have levy freemen just jogging after these noble horse, and the noble horse, such an expensive unit, they haven't really contributed to the battle yet, and there are no rear charges incoming anymore for Galatia. The Oathsworn general is dead actually for Arverni. He did just manage to pop unity of the tribes, but these units, the morale of these units is going to start to get shaky of the Galatian legionaries, because these units are, the general is nowhere near, and the Galatian legionaries have been fighting for a long time against Oathsworn and the like, so the Oathsworn have barely taken any casualties, and they're going to roll up the lines. Galatia did not manage to deal with the Oathsworn in this case. Javelins incoming against the Galatian raiders. Very nice screening here by Diplomatt against the noble horse, and the noble horse has done basically nothing in this battle. Now he's not even supporting his men with the morale. Here we have MLG freemen coming in. Maybe they have some javelins left they can use against the Galatian swords. Doesn't look like it. Galatian swords with a lot of kills for their price. Galatian raiders were screened away effectively. And now there are only these few units of Galatian legionaries left in the center. Quite a lot of units left for Diplomatt. So this is just a matter of Arverni surrounding the remaining Galatian units. The general is finally starting to contribute to the battle, but it's just getting smashed by javelins from all sides. So costly victory there for Diplomatt. And Galatia, the Galatian raiders were screened off very effectively. The levy freemen of both sides were annoying as hell, but didn't do too much in this battle. The chosen swords of of Arverni did reasonably well, and this was a case where 8 sub-elite swords came up, 6 sub-elite swords and 2 sort of low-tier swords came up against 6 mid-tiers and 2 elites, and you can see the difference in kills between the Oathsworn and the units for Galatia here. But well played by Diplomatt. He advances to the next round of the tournament and can't use Arverni again, which is just as well. Good job beating Galatia with Arverni. That is certainly not an easy task, made a bit easier by the rules of this tournament, which limits the amounts of swords you can bring, and Galatia of course has no elite swords. Strength and honor.